Today is a very technical topic, that's why I took time out prior to this show to actually debrief you about what should be, because it's not a generic topic. It should not be a free-flowing topic where, it's just about experiences, learnings. We have to touch base on every critical point. Hence, I call it more technical, and that's why this debriefing you're holding right now. It's a great way to start this podcast.
Hi Vijay.
Hi.
Welcome to yet another podcast of Business of Real Estate by Vijay Gwalani. We have been discussing this topic for a long time, and it's
Yes,
one
of
of
course.
a very important step after negotiating for our first investment in buying a property. We are at a stage where there are some important facets that people generally don't consider much.
They overlook. Yeah,
They overlook.
correct.
So I actually wanted to narrate this incident that happened in my family. I had a cousin who got very excited by this ad and a brochure that he saw of a development that happened in the outskirts of Mumbai near Kalamboli, and he invested in a property. It's been quite a while, and he's struggling right now.
Not got
He's
possession.
Yeah, and exit to dur ki baat hai khair. What do you think went wrong here?
On the macros, if you remember me talking in our very first episode, we are in the business of real estate. We are trading real estate. We are not buying our home. We need to be in an exhausted area where there is continuous scarcity, predominantly leading to a perpetual demand.
Yeah.
It may be sensitized by broader market dynamics, but demand will always remain. The name Kalamboli actually rings a bell, where I told you all about areas which are ambitious. It's a great place to be for buying land. It's a great place to be as a developer who buys cheap and tries to catch the infrastructure growth. We've been hearing about the second airport.
Yeah.
Kalamboli is a byproduct, a story of that airport. All of that area has a lot of buzz about the new airport coming, but we know how long it has taken.
Yeah.
It is not an easy thing. It is an airport is not something which you decide to have, get a tarmac and get planes landing. No, it's not like that. There is so much of statutory involvement, government involvement, acquisition of land, issues. We are in a democracy, litigations, governments needing to take some unpopular decisions, and it doesn't come easy, right? It doesn't come easy. Hence, going there by virtue of, I'm sure he has gone there by the virtue of the airport being developed there.
Yeah. It was very exciting. There was a huge story around it, and it was very inviting, I suppose.
Yeah, and of course, sometimes what happens is that we are sitting in prominent Mumbai, and we usually cannot afford
Yeah.
these areas because they are exhausted and hence they are expensive. So
Just clarifying, these areas meaning from Bandra to Borivali.
for me, it is Bandra to Borivali. I've made a boundary for myself. It's just that I am well read about this subject matter, these areas, and I can take conscious calls and not falter, not fall. But having said that, a BKC, a Parel are also very good areas. I am not specializing there, hence I don't use them as an example. That doesn't mean, you should be from Bandra to Borivali only. If you are a stalwart and in around Chembur area, is doing great. But I use these reference points and not make absolute remarks about these areas, but I want to stick to Bandra to Borivali and make reference points.
So in retrospect, what should my cousin
So I want to believe that he bought that for the airport. That was the broad aspect. And then also there are budgetary constraints, but you want to be part of the game, right? It's your cousin, so I believe he might be kind of your age. He goes there only because he cannot afford this ticket. He wants to be in the real estate space, and then he's lured by the logic of airport coming in, which is correct.
This is his first investment, so everything looked perfect.
Yeah. So he honestly, all that we have is a story called the airport. To very promising infrastructure coming in, roads passing from here, heading to Pune, reaching Lonavala, all that is great. And it's great when you're in the advanced level of investing, right? You have to have a bouquet of investments, and then it's great. But if you just need to do that one investment, you need to be in exhausted area to experience the in and out of it. So he's gone there, he has bought the product, but there are several land parcels. If you drive through there all the way to Kalamboli from Neral, Vashi, there's so much of abundance of barren land available, which is waiting to be cultivated, which is waiting to be constructed. Builders have acquired those lands at very cheap rates and are poised to make very good money. But what is in it for the retail investor who's buying a house to flip it, who's buying an office space to flip it? It's too early.
It comes back to your large supply.
Absolutely.
And that is why the demand.
So think of it. I mean, you buy to sell. As an investor, you buy to sell. You don't buy to show off the oomph of the project to your family, friends, etc. Right? So you buy to exit. You ask yourself the question: if I bought this product in Kalamboli, I'm sure it's not a standalone building. Most of those projects are at least 500-800 units. Why will an end user eventually buy out of me? He will go to the developer because he'll have abandoned stock. And if at all, if life is kind to the developer, the project is plush, ambitious, and he does garner a lot of end users coming in, the next end user will still not buy from you because the plot next door is offering a lot. There is too much competition from your own product, from your neighboring products. Better brochures, futuristic stories on those brochures. That's the only thing that sells. You only have a brochure to presume what the product will come out like. So I think the first time trader, the first time investor who intends to flip the profits, who intends to flip the property to make profits, must not venture out in these ambitious areas. It's great that if you have a lot of money, then you want to have a more spread out kitty. It's great to be there, and
and you can wait that long for it to eventually.
You start paying your EMIs, service your bank debt, or for that matter, you need to, even if it's your own money, you need to see it grow. They're so investor centric, because the hype is created amongst the middle class, and they see opportunity basis the marketing and the hype which has that area kind of draws. They come over there and then they're all waitlisted. It does not move. Suddenly they're all investors. And then more than 70% of those producers are with investors waiting to sell. But the real end user is not buying because he's gone to the project next door.
Which will be cheaper.
Which obviously be under construction, so it'll be cheaper. So he'll say, what's the rush? I will, probably wait. Or what's the tearing hurry? To buy, let me ponder here and ponder there. You may be lucky to bump it off, but you have too much of competition to get rid of that unit, and then you are in the limbo.
Which brings me to the second point, which is how do we establish if it's the right price or not, even if it's in an exhausted area?
So, like I said, first-time investor must not venture out in these locales, which is not just limited to builder skill to get that inflation up. It also requires the fulfillment of the statutory promises made in that area. Like the airport needs to come up, right? It's not come up, and that's the truth as of now. They're doing a lot of effort. The government is really. It is going to be a head turner, a head spinner, but when it comes up. And if you exhausted your petrol, your car's not moving for sure. So coming back, we stick to the exhausted areas. Like I said, for reference point, Bandra to Borivali is what I would want to stick to. Get a unit which satiates my budgets. I've explained that in the past. Now we come to the macro number 2. So micro number 1 is Stay in exhausted areas. That is your first broad diligence. Macro number 2 is price. What is the price point of the projects we are trying to zero down upon? If you like a certain project which is under construction and you've got certain prices, you move out to do your diligence. At this point of time, when you have kind of zeroed on the builder, the project in an exhausted area, this is like a matrimonial proposal. I know that life is kind these days and everybody's having love marriages, but back in time, matrimony was the only way you got married. What would you do? You would go knock the neighbor's door and ask, "Ladka kaisa hai? Ladki kaisi hai?" Gadiya, vadiya, ghar, work. Kya mahol hai? How do you ascertain the boy is good? So this is how you do. It's very rudimentary, very elementary diligence you need to do in terms of price. All you need to do is knock the neighbor's door. Go and see some projects.
Ground research.
Absolutely. Yeah. See the newspapers, go online, and there are various sites that are doing second-hand sales, Magic Bricks, Housing.com. There are so many of them doing these second sales, Yeah. Figure out what a ready possession price is going on in the vicinity to then adjudicate what your price would be like when you're selling. Figure out what is the appetite you desire as profit, which has to be rational, and you come backwards to your price. So you start from the top and come backwards to sit on a negotiating table with a certain price point in your mind. So this is very simply how you kind of would want to ascertain what your buying should be. Peg it to your selling. And in an exhausted area, it's not a challenge because the product is ready. Unlike a Kalamboli, everybody's building over there. Nothing is ready. You don't know when it's ready, where will it go. But in an exhausted area, there's definitely 5, 7, 10 years old buildings around. Probably someone who's just finished construction, if you're lucky, in that vicinity. Figure out those prices. And you exactly know where you stand. If it's standing at 100 and, if you're getting something at 80 today, getting 20 rupees out of it, which is like a 25% growth over the next 2-3 years, it is good.
Oh, man,
yeah, it is good.
But here, what happened with my cousin is construction it was not fulfilled. Forget the time it was.
He didn't get delivery.
He didn't at all, and it's still under construction. How do we know if the developer is telling you the truth or not when you buy it or when you're considering it?
So this is an apathy of both exhausted areas and these ambitious areas. I would want to typically comment on this particular project, though I don't know the depth of it. But I would want to believe that just like while your cousin was ambitious and thought that a 100 rupee thing would go to 150 and that's why he put money basis the brochure, I presume the builder was also equally overambitious, thinking that if 100 rupees is the cost of the entire project and if I have 50, let me get the ball rolling. If I have 20, let me get the ball rolling and then I will get the liquidity from the projected sales. Now, if what does that projected sales don't happen? There could be anything, COVID, governments changing, anything at all. Since simply the fact that the airport will never come there, something like this. You are doomed, he is doomed, and everybody is doomed. So this is the dark side of ambitious areas. Things could move south. So in this case, I would want to assume that he too did not have the fuel. And now he is, as and when he is getting someone, he is getting a little liquidity, probably approaching some banks, probably going to unorganized sector to raise funds. He is getting deeper and deeper in this shit.
Yeah, but this is conjecture. How do we understand whether this guy is equally involved?
So, like I said, this particular question is very important. And I've kind of broadly touched upon this with that English Channel example, right? So you need to bare minimum make sure that investments in a project in an exhausted area, let us stick to that, are minimum 50% of the entire project costs. That is minimum his skin should be in the game. And if that be the case, and if he is tired, he'll still swim to the other side of the English Channel. And once he puts about 50% in the skin of the game, then the project in an exhausted area, smaller land parcels, does meritoriously reach a very good level for end user to tick in. So as a first time buyer, please stick to this, get a taste, get a hang of it. Just like a stock market, when you want to enter Stick around with the good A group companies. You feel nice, right?
Yeah.
ACC, Colgate, these traditional old economy stocks. You're safe. It may not show you 3x, 4x, but there is no downside to these institutions, to these stocks. So just get a hang of it. So that's why I'm advocating that till you really get a hang of it and you start feeling like you're a god of this situation, stick around these places. So now the question would be 50% डाला है 60% डाला है वो मैं कैसे जानूंगी?
Yeah, I think our viewers would want to know a few more details.
None of the builders will open up a balance sheet and देखो यार ये projected cost of the project है और मैंने तो इतने
वो
पैसे
तो बोलेगा मैंने तो पूरा 85% डाला है मैंने मेरे को थोड़ा ही चाहिए.
So first things first, again I have told you all in the past, when you sit to buy, you're a buyer. You could be a 1-bedroom all buyer, you could be a 5-bedroom all buyer, 2 crores or 15 crores, but you're a buyer. And the developer needs to respect you, which he does.
Yeah.
Be very candid with him. पूछो उसको क्वेश्चंस कि आपने क्या डाला है, कहाँ तक पहुंचा है, एंड कहाँ तक पहुंचा है. प्लीज डोंट मिसअंडरस्टैंड दिस इन टर्म्स ऑफ द स्ट्रक्चर बीइंग देयर. वो बोलेगा देखो मेरा स्ट्रक्चर तो 6 माला खड़ा हो गया, 7 माला खड़ा. डू यू हैव द परमिशन टू रीच द 7th floor? Have you paid the necessary premiums? Have you acquired the necessary TDR, the fungible area? These are technical jargons which you can look up and understand very clearly. They are directly pegged to government charges. They, in simple terms, are various government charges the gentleman needs to pay, the lady needs to pay. If she or he is a builder, they need to pay to reach that level. And that is critical in a statute, in an exhausted area. Statutory levies is the biggest partner of a developer who keeps drawing out of him. And if he is complied well with these things, you are in very safe wicket. You are on a very safe wicket. So make sure you see that things like the IOD, that is that intent to create the product, and then the CC, the commencement certificate, is substantially available. For me, a commencement certificate which reads as full CC, यानी कि हमने पूरा कमेंसमेंट सर्टिफिकेट यानी पूरी प्रीमियम्स बीएमसी की भर दी है. दिस इज माय कॉन्सेप्ट, दिस कॉन्सेप्ट कॉस्ट दिस मच ऑफ स्टैट्यूटरी लेवीज और मैंने पूरा भर दिया है. दैट फुल सीसी इज अ बिग यूएसपी.
Okay.
सो लेट देयर बी फुल सीसी फॉर स्टार्टर्स,
Yeah.
एंड देन you're rolling.
Then you have that RERA thing which they advertise actually.
And
RERA
once this
receipt.
is there, how do I justify whether he is saying full CC है तो है कि नहीं है? Then there are these days it's so much more better, unlike what it was back in time. 20 साल पहले तो ये सब होता ही नहीं था. We would want to go to the municipal offices and probably figure out from there. But आजकल तो everything is online. आप रेरा के साइट पे चले जाओ and there is a website in Maharashtra. रेरा की वेबसाइट है. The project obviously these days need to have a RERA number. What is the significance? Everybody says RERA number, RERA number.
Yeah.
RERA number means that if he has approached the BMC with a certain perspective, a certain vision, a certain horizon of what he wants to conceptualize, then he needs to present it to the municipality. The municipality needs to, in all assertiveness, agree that हाँ ये तो तू बना रहा है वो हमारे ambit में आता है, law के हमारे governance के ambit में आता है, please बनाना शुरू कर, जिसको हम कहते हैं CC. और वो कहते हैं अच्छा तो ऊपर तक बनाना शुरू कर दे तो उसको कहते हैं फुल सीसी. द डिफरेंस बिटवीन पार्ट सीसी एंड फुल सीसी इज प्योरली द मनी पेड. बीएमसी डज गिव लिबर्टीज टू द डेवलपर. वो कहते हैं ठीक है यार आज थोड़े दे दे, ये कॉन्सेप्ट ठीक है, लेट अस फ्रीज इट, दैट्स कॉल्ड द आईओडी. वो कहता है चल तो 3 माले तक का पैसे दे दे, दैट्स कॉल्ड 3rd floor तक सीसी. चल तो 5 माले तक का पैसा दे, ही इज अलाउड टू गिव द पार्ट पेमेंट्स, बट इफ ही पेज द फुल मनी, you are well in control, he is well in control of the project. So let us stick to full CC, let us stick to proven developers in an exhausted area. Let's start off over there.
And isn't there like a specific land that we have to make sure if it's freeholding or?
So just like a RERA, there's a BMC site as well, which if you want to go to bigger depths of RERA does mention all that the builder has recommended on their website as approved. You are fine. But if you still want to get more in-depth analysis on the project, there's a BMC site which you can put the project number. Apart from a RERA number, there's a BMC file number. You can put it there these days. Anybody can log in and put it over there, and they give you approved plans, AutoCAD drawings. So if you have an architect friend or you want to in official capacity engage an architect, go to him, show him the plans. This is what he's envisaging, this is how the elevation is going to be. So AutoCAD drawings tak aap download kar sakte ho. So there's enough and more information for you to judiciously decide how much of a skin has he got in the game. Now coming back to exhausted areas and land parcels, there are three ways you will get in any development. There will be three ways in a metro or in a proven city a developer will develop. Number one is he will go out there buy a land parcel, right? अभी कोई जूना बंगलो है कार में, अगले ने जाके वो बंगलो का लैंड खरीद लिया. Of course he has to pay a substantial amount for buying that land. Option number two is there is a bungalow guy who doesn't want liquidity. He says, break open my bungalow, give me some flats and take some flats. It's a traditional barter जो जुने ज़माने में medieval time में होता था. भाई तुम कांदे लाओ, मैं आलू लाता हूँ आपस में.
All these Bollywood stars are doing that in Bandra and Vastu.
That is called barter. So वो कहते हैं भाई मैं land दे देता हूँ, construction तुम करो, you have charisma, you have aura on your side in terms of a real estate diva brand. आप माल बेचो, मेरे को मेरे फ्लैट्स वापस दे दो. So that is called a barter. That is called a joint venture between a developer and a landlord. So that is the second way of doing it. And a third way, of course, is more the more obvious way, which Bandra to Borivali is these days are operating, and that is the redevelopment. जहाँ एक जूनी सोसाइटी है, छोटी सी बिल्डिंग है, by virtue I've explained this before, so by virtue of certain SOPs, by virtue of certain norms, the BMC allows you the liberty to go down and 2, 3, 4 times depending on various aspects like road width and the plot sizes, etc., fire, etc. के norms के ambit के हिसाब से एक जूनी बिल्डिंग टूट के 5 गुना बड़ी तक बन सकती है, 2, 3, 4, 5 गुना तक बन सकती है. So these are the three ways of doing it. Starting a project. अगर बिल्डर किसी एग्जॉस्टेड एरिया में लैंड खरीद के प्रोडक्ट बना रहे ना, दैट इज द बिगेस्ट विनर फॉर मी. आई मीन इट एक्साइट्स मी कि अगले ने लैंड खरीद ली है. इन अ प्रोजेक्ट ऑफ 100 rupees in an exhausted area, 60 rupees by thumb rule is land cost. If he does a JV with a society or a landlord, he doesn't put that 60 rupees. He just gives promises. कि चलो मैं तुमको इतना दे दूंगा. There's no love lost there. But if he goes and buys a plot outright from a society or from a landlord, he has put way too much skin in the game. That also gives him the liberty, once he's a landlord, owner of that land, to take various kinds of exposures very easily in case he is in troubled waters. जरूरी नहीं है आप माल बेच के ही पैसे रेज करो. That's called equity. कई बार प्रोजेक्ट अगर स्लो हो जाता है और आपको फंड्स चाहिए इन एंटिसिपेशन ऑफ सेल्स, आप बोरो भी कर सकते हो. सच प्रोजेक्ट्स आर वेरी एक्साइटिंग फॉर मी, फॉर द बैंक्स. फंडिंग मिल जाती है तो दैट गाय, द डेवलपर, द लेडी, हुएवर इट इज इन वेरी वेरी सेफ वाटर्स. सो इट्स अ रेयर सिचुएशन बिकॉज द ROIs, रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, इतने एक्साइटिंग होते नहीं है developer के लिए to put so much of moolah in the initial stages. It's beautiful to put very limited. Module is very beautiful, the redevelop module. Put very limited money. Give these guys rent and corpus of the old tenements को थोड़ा rent and corpus है कि कहाँ उनको थोड़ी देर के लिए समा दिया, 2-3 साल के लिए created a structure. All goes well. It's a fantastic module for the users and a fantastic module for the developer. ना पैसा लगता नहीं है and you turn around the product in 2-3 years. So even for the new age investor, other than the society member, the new age investor also has a chance to flip very fast. So it's a very good win-win situation. But only thing, in that situation, then he should have at least a substantial amount of CC, a substantial amount of common space certificate. BMC has drawn enough out of him.
But which is turnover किसका faster है? Is the redevelopment one faster, or is buying a land and developing faster, or the JV?
See, redevelopment comes with a caveat that there are old tenants. And then they are securities. If the builder goes against what he has promised in documents like the development agreement he has executed with them, then you as an investor are in trouble. है ना? But अगर वो land खरीद चुका है, then even if he alters, changes, approved plans को alter करता है, कब बड़ा बनाना है, छोटा बनाना है, he has no stress. He is wishfully and lawfully the owner of that project. So it helps him approach the product better with a more open mind. It is a more adaptive situation. यहाँ पर he has to cross the line. He has to walk the wire,
Yeah.
which he is willing to do. There's no problem. But if you ask me, like I said, a land purchased is a very big thumbs up for the investor. This is how we ascertain how much of a skin the developer has in the game.
So now we are sitting across the developer in his office in the building that he's constructing. Now, when I go and see the flat that I'm interested in, what are the specific product diligences that I should look for?
So coming to the product diligence now, so here we are. We have gone, identify this the exhausted area.
Yeah.
Then we also went down and identified the neighboring prices.
Yes.
Now we know the prices.
Yes.
Let us assume that he was kind enough. He understood market dynamics as much as you did.
Yes.
You ascertained the price. Great. You know that if all the trajectories northwards, everything remained constant, you know what kind of money you will take home now. You ascertain that. You're fine with that. After that, you have the developer diligence ki usne skin kitna dala hua hai. I explained to you land, statutory body levies, this, that, काफी पैसा डाला हुआ है. चलो, अब टेबल पे बैठना है.
Yeah.
और product diligence करना है.
Yeah.
This stage पे, when you have ascertained these three macros, exhausted area, the price point you should buy at, and you have frozen with the developer, and most importantly, the developer का skin भी ascertain हो गया. यहाँ पर भी आप उसको पैसे नहीं देते हो, बिल्कुल नहीं देते.
अच्छा.
अब आते हो प्रोडक्ट पे. आपको ना एग्जॉस्टेड एरिया बेचना है, आपको ना स्टैट्यूटरी लेवीज का सर्टिफिकेट बेचना है, ना आपको डेवलपर की स्किन बेचनी है.
Yeah.
आपको बेचना प्रोडक्ट है.
Yeah.
तो किसको बेचना है आपको? Who do you have to sell that product to at the end of the day? The end user.
Yeah.
Now you sit on the product because end user जब तैयार प्रोडक्ट लेता है, उसको ये सब चीजों से लेना देना नहीं है जो अभी तक हम जहां तक पहुंचे हैं. That's none of his concern. He's seeing a ready product. All that he sees is the product.
Yeah.
So now start envisaging what an end user would want.
Yeah.
सबसे पहले flow plan.
Once again, end user is the home builder, the one who's looking at this, and not me, who's only looking at it as an investment.
Yes.
Okay. Hmm.
Now we are looking at the project from an end user, यानी कि buyer जो रहने वाला है, home buyer के thought process है, mindset से. Okay. So हमने निकलना है, हमने इसको बेचना है.
Yes.
ये क्या देखेगा?
Yes.
फ्लो प्लान कि खुलता कैसे है घर, किसी किचन में, किसी बाथरूम में नहीं. ये अच्छी तरह एलिवेट होता है. यू वॉक इन, यू सी अ मैग्नानिमस लिविंग रूम,
Yeah.
probably have a small foyer, then you have a living room,
Yeah.
then you go inside, there's a cordoned area, and very judiciously all the rooms are stacked in one corner, connected to each other. So my son is here, my mother is here, me and my wife are here. That's the topography of my house. And then there is a kitchen next to the living area. There's a small powder room. अरे यार यही तो हमारा घर है. बजट बाद में, लेकिन पहले वो फ्लो प्लान करता है, ये तो है जो मुझे चाहिए था.
Have you seen a floor plan that is opening to a kitchen or a washroom?
तो ये एक एग्जॉस्टेड एरियाज का एक ड्रॉबैक होता है कि देयर आर सो मेनी प्लानिंग कंस्ट्रेंट्स ना. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि बनाने चलते हैं शोले, लेकिन फ्लॉप मूवी बन जाती है. हर बिल्डर बेचारा शोले ही बनाना चाहता है. एवरी प्रोड्यूसर हु स्टार्ट्स अ मूवी वांट्स टू मेक शोले की चले और 25 साल बॉक्स ऑफिस पे चले, मिनर्वा में लगी पड़ी रही हो, या दिल वाले दुल्हनिया ले जाएंगे. पर ऐसा होता नहीं है. तो कई बार वो प्रोजेक्ट के कंस्ट्रेंट्स के वजह से व्हेन अ डेवलपर ट्राइज टू ऑप्टिमाइज मोर एरिया आउट ऑफ अ फ्लो प्लान टू मेक इट कमर्शियली मोर लुक्रेटिव ऑन द चार्ट्स, वो कई बार प्लानिंग कॉम्प्रोमाइज करता है. और उसके वजह से ही हिट्स a roadblock. End user does not like that. So you don't want to be stuck in that situation. See the flow plan. छोटी मोटी चीजें जैसे वास्तु. Don't be an advocate of वास्तु. आप वास्तु एडवोकेट मत बनो और अपने वास्तु कंसल्टेंट को पैसा मत दो. छोटी मोटी बातें, at least the entry exit. Today, no matter what religion you are from, everybody wants to see वास्तु. वो थोड़ा वाइफ मदर के लिए, एज्ड फादर विल टेल यू, बेटा एक बार देख तो ले कि नॉर्थ या वेस्ट या एंट्री ईस्ट है, साउथ तो नहीं है. these three things. So ये छोटा मोटा ब्रॉड डिटेलिंग कर लो. that you have to sell to the end user. तो चाहे कितना भी हो, आप ये मत सोचो ठीक है ना, कौन सी बड़ी बात है, साउथ है तो क्या हुआ, I will manage that. No, don't do that. You never swim against the tide. And the tide is decided by the end user, not the developer, not by you.
So even if you don't believe, there is a huge chance.
You have to, because Believe me, from an investment point of view, the things that sound lucrative, when you are a buyer and an end user, और वो साउथ एंट्री है, वो आपको आधे भाव में दे रहे हैं ना, आप डरोगे. इन्वेस्टर की तरह वो चीज टेम्पटिंग होती है, लेकिन बायर की तरह यू होल्ड इट. नहीं यार, कल मैं अंदर गया और ये वास्तु ठेरा निकला और मैं मैनेज फ्रॉम द अर्थ. तो यू that is always a fear of unknown, right? ये पहले बात कर चुके हैं. तो वो let's not tickle those things, you know. जो उनको डिलीवरी चाहिए उस हिसाब से आप अपना माहौल चूज करो. You can choose. Even in exhausted बहुत माल होता है. Don't be in a rush to buy. So ये चीज हो गई. Always see what your surroundings has to offer in terms of amenities. आजू बाजू वाली buildings. Don't make them a cause of envy to your potential buyer. ताकि वो अपनी वाइफ के साथ आता है, बिल्डिंग सब कुछ अच्छा लगा, प्लान भी अच्छा लगा, वास्तु भी अच्छा हो गया, लेकिन वो बीवी तो कहेगी अरे सुने बाजू वाले में तो जिम और स्विमिंग पूल है, तो हम एक 2-5 हज़ार रुपया स्क्वायर फुट ज्यादा लेके वो नहीं ले लेंगे. या बायर भी सोचता है, वाई एज वाइफ वी आर रेगुलेटेड बाय आवर स्पाउसेस, सो दैट्स हाउ आई कीप सेइंग दिस ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट टू देम. मैंने तो काम उनके लिए किया है, तो आई वांट टू प्लीज हर, राइट? सो you become second fiddle then. They may not want to. So आजू बाजू में what is the temperament, what is the kind of amenities that are being offered.
Even the build, the raw material.
Then it comes to diligence on the product. So when you are creating your sales pitch to your potential buyer in resale, when the product is ready, you can show it off. मेरे प्रोजेक्ट में डेवलपर ने डाइकेन एसी दी है, इट वर्क्स विद द एंड यूजर. मेरे प्रोजेक्ट में टाटा की पाइप्स लगी हुई है, जनरली qualities are not compromised these days. But it sounds very nice as a pitch. You need to create a pitch deck for yourself too जब आप बेचोगे, right? तो make sure that you get those sounds already. डेवलपर आपको अगर एसी लगा के देता है, पैनलिंग करके देता है, फॉल सीलिंग बना के देता है, this is the same pitch you will give on a micro to your buyer who will be helping you flip your property and buying out of you. तो ये चीजें भी बहुत जरूरी होती है कि amenities देख लेना. All this also needs to be tapped on product level.
Yes, parking is
the most important thing in modern age is parking. It's a deal breaker if you do not have parking. Do not think today parking costs. In these areas where plot sizes are small and ambitions are large, builders go into basements. They need to park on podiums. There are various situations, various ways to accommodate the parking demand, which is a statutory need of the BMC. So rotary parking, stack parking, लिफ्ट में जाके पोडियम तक पार्किंग, रैंप के थ्रू पोडियम में पार्किंग, बेसमेंट पार्किंग, लिफ्ट के थ्रू, रैंप के थ्रू. देयर आर सो मेनी ways to accommodate the parking, which obviously comes at a huge cost these days. पहले तो क्या होता था, कंपाउंड में पार्क कर ली, बिल्डर को कुछ कॉस्ट नहीं होता था, पर लगा देता था पार्किंग चार्ज. He didn't need to really create parkings, right? But these days the poor guys need to create that environment. They don't come cheap. सो पार्किंग कई बार ना, लाइक इन बैंड्रा पार्किंग 15 लाख 20 लाख रुपए के नीचे नहीं होती है, जिसमें से 10-12 लाख तो उनकी कॉस्ट होती है टू क्रिएट दिस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. दीज मैकेनिज्म नीड टू बी पुट इन प्लेस. तो हम क्या करते हैं एज एन इन्वेस्टर, सर मुझे पार्किंग मत दो. नहीं, एंड यूजर आपका 10 करोड़ का फ्लैट 5 करोड़ में नहीं लेगा अगर उसे वो 20 लाख की 2 पार्किंग नहीं होगी. Where will he park? The roads are all exhausted. Boards of no parking are there on either sides on alternate days. He can't park outside. He needs the parking. You need to have a parking which is accessible. Please don't compromise for smaller parkings which are logically not accessible. खास एक चैंपियन वैले को लाना पड़े ऐसा पार्किंग मत लो कि हम चलाएंगे, हमारी वाइफ चलाएंगे, हमारे बच्चे चलाएंगे, हमारे एजेड पेरेंट्स चलाएंगे गाड़ी. तो प्लीज गेट गुड पार्किंग्स. एंड यूजर थॉट प्रोसेस बता रहा हूँ कि यार मैं तो चलो लगा भी दूंगा, 72 इयर्स के डैडी कैसे लगाएंगे ये पार्किंग, मुझे ये फ्लैट नहीं चाहिए. सो थिंक फ्रॉम हिज एंगल, गेट गुड पार्किंग्स. इनिशियली व्हेन यू आर एन इन्वेस्टर, व्हेन यू आर सिटिंग ऑन द टेबल, डेवलपर इज वेरी एक्साइटेड टू टेल यू बिकॉज ही वांट्स टू रेज द फंड्स, राइट? सो वो सुनेगा आपकी बातें. Get the right parkings. Parking बहुत जरूरी होती है. So broadly these are the project related diligence you would need to do. If you have reached here and you have answered all your questions in all positivity and not compromised broadly on these things, your ship is set to sail.
What about aesthetics?
Aesthetics is also something which you need to see. Brochures में उनकी elevations होती है. These days RERA is very strict. अगर उन्होंने दिखाया कि वो ताजमहल बना रहे हैं तो बीवी का मकबरा नहीं बना सकते. They cannot fool you. You can take them to court. They can be penalized. Your money refunded with interest. All that is a walk in the park these days. Trust me, it's a walk in the park.
So if there are pillars, supposed to have pillars and balcony and all that also.
If he's shown you a balcony, he better give you a balcony. Leave alone that. There are citations where I don't want to take the developer's name. He has put Mickey and Donald in a project brochure. And there have been litigations where the end user has said, I thought you were getting Walt Disney. See, those are proprietary characters, right? Disney characters are proprietary. आपने depict क्या किया मुझे कि इधर Disney के characters आने वाले. You have not tied up with Disney. I want my money back. And RERA has upheld these things, which is good. Like I said, the empathy is with the buyer. आप जो depict कर रहे हो मुझे दे दो. You can. I mean, I don't want you to, but you should know that you can even challenge the color coding. Elevation, fins. If he's shown fins and maybe made something with concrete, you can challenge that. Because this is what was shown to me, boss. मैंने तो पैसे इस पे लगाए.
Agreed. It matters.
Yeah. I mean,
first impression वही तो है.
Yeah. Signing a proven actor for a movie. And when you go to see the movie, you're buying tickets for a proven actor. But you go to the movie and see an equally proven actor which is void of the poster you saw. You can sue them, right? तो बोलोगे यार फलाना हीरो है. I don't want to take names, but ये भी तो उतना ही अच्छा है. अरे बॉस, लेकिन मैं इसके लिए साइन अप नहीं किया था. So RERA upholds you. So aesthetics, I don't see aesthetics an issue these days because there are fabulous engineers, architects who are creating these things. Rates have gone over the top. Construction cost is not. I started this podcast with, don't get floored by 6, 7, 8 floors of construction. That doesn't cost. A carcass costs 2,000 rupees a square foot. So here's the thumbnail for you. Here's the thumb rule for you. A carcass costs just 2,000 rupees to build per square foot. Even a Bandra, you're paying 60, 70,000 rupees a square foot in predominant areas. Construction cost is not a worry to the developer. So to build something like this doesn't cost him something. I've told you what costs him, whatever. Aesthetic value again doesn't cost you. A very good elevation vis-a-vis a good elevation is 1,000 rupees a square foot of a flat price. Maybe 2,000 rupees, that's it. Not more than that. So by and large, these guys are doing a good job. They want to make a Sholay, so they sign up for good characteristics in the building. But yes, the brochure explains that. Stick to the brochure. And please don't think that they are just showing off, making tall claims via the brochure. They can't anymore. The claims they make is what they need to deliver, and you can pull them up. And the developer knows that.
What about the legalities of things? How do we uphold them and how do we access them?
So at this stage, when everything is done, obviously there is no other way to go but to go and give him this token amount and tell him, boss, let me start off with this. If he is kind, he will allow you to do the legal due diligence. Otherwise, he may want to tell you, please give me some token before I part with the legal documents. Both case scenarios are safe. Nothing happens. You can adhere to either ways. Take the set of documents. And here, I would recommend to you that even if I have a 3-hour podcast going forward on this, do not go by my word. Go with the professionals. Take this entire bunch to that region's lawyer, that suburb's lawyer, that area's lawyer, who's good. Google supports you with that. You may have well-wishers who may want to recommend to you. Please leave the file there and let the professional, him or her, decide the legal local standing of the project. And once you get a thumbs up from there, you're good to go. Now you are finally heading to be owner of a under construction property. This is the dry run you do to get into the Chakravyuh. Now you're in.
So this was a short crash course on how to do it in a under construction building. But last time you spoke about old buildings also to be a good investment idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, in these exhausted areas. So tell me, what should I look for if I think of, or if I've spotted a good investment there?
Old building.
Old building.
So in the beginning of the podcast, even earlier, I have said that if you are not so brave and to venture into something like which is started to construct,
Yeah.
you can also seek to purchase something in an old building which is raring to go for redevelopment.
Yeah.
In the beginning also I said there are 3 ways of identifying what is the land topography the builder is constructing on. 1, he buys the land in an exhausted area. 2, he does a joint venture with an old bungalow.
Yeah.
Or 3rd, he goes to a society.
Yeah.
The society there's an investment opportunity where certain old buildings negotiating for redevelopment. Some people want to get out.
Yeah.
There are old people. There are people who want to migrate from there. Can't wait for the redevelopment to happen. That also you can think of as an investment. But the good thing is that you don't need to do too much of due diligence. You simply, as a first-time buyer, need to understand that you need to go into a building, buy this old flat, provided there are 2 critical things. 1, the land needs to be freehold, which means in normal English, the land needs to be owned and conveyed to the society. The society should be the owner of the land. In technical terms, the conveyance should be in the name of the society. Having said that, if it has to be in the name of the society, there needs to be a society established and running immaculately. These 2 things are very important for the broad fate of happy redevelopment. This is the first thing a builder looks when he goes to do something under redevelopment, at something which has potential redevelopment scope. He will see if the land is in the society's name. He see that the society is running well. It is only then he shows interest. So you make sure too that uska logical end के लिए उसका logical beginning होना जरूरी है. So make sure that you're on a freehold land and make sure you have a society which is running the system immaculately.
Yeah.
That is a first time investor's typical criteria if he wants to venture into this aspect of investment. Freehold के अलावा there are leasehold lands. Leasehold का मतलब होता है कि flat members का होता है लेकिन land किसी और की होती है. It could be government land, it could be some private ownership land, it could be trust land. Let us not get into that. I think for the organic approach of the first time investor, he needn't be so brave.
That is not ideal, you're saying?
Not at this stage.
Can that lead to complications?
See, we seek opportunity. We've been here for 20 years. We seek opportunity in such land parcels as well. Recently, collector land is also a leasehold land जहाँ building बनती है. You could buy and sell in collector land, but collector used to regulate the sale. Difficult होता था. These days, collector says कि मुझे 15% of the ready reckoner दे दो और land मैं आपके नाम पे करता हूँ. ये suburb में अभी बहुत hype चालू है. So, if you can catch this early and cash on it, it's great. But I would not recommend. There's too much on the plate already for a organic approach to first-time buying.
Yeah.
Keep off.
Yeah.
Try to stick to freehold, society formed.
These are the 2.
And then, of course, you take the papers.
Yeah. And then it all starts.
It just goes to you take the papers and go to the professional, go to the legal advisor. आप उसमें कुछ मत करो. वो मेहनत बहुत कम है. It's more tough to identify. उसका सप्लाई बहुत लिमिटेड होता है. To get the right unit in the right suburb. Once you get that, it's very easy. आपका फ्री होल्ड है, सोसाइटी है, पेपर्स उठाओ, लीगल के पास चले जाओ, एक प्रोफेशनल के पास चले जाओ. That goes much more smoother than उसके ऊपर वाली काम करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है फिर.
Superb. So I think we are broadly classified.
Yeah. And like I said in the beginning of the podcast, this is a technical topic.
Yeah.
Before we shot this, we have done a good 30 minutes of, brainstorming on this. I would recommend, my apologies for making this very long, but I would recommend that ये 40 मिनट, ये 30 मिनट, जो भी this podcast ends at, is very vital for a successful and a logical end. Please hear this podcast. Please like and subscribe. Please spread it to as many people as you can so that you have very few people coming back and saying, real estate, मैं पैसा गवा दिया like your cousin. It's not meant for me.
वो सब तो ठीक है, मैं अभी बोलूँ क्या उसको कजिन को?
तो उनको मेरा पॉडकास्ट नंबर 1 दिखाओ, उनको बोलो कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस, यू आर नाउ अभिमन्यु, डेथ इज इनएविटेबल.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.